Always go back to the money. One of the things I've noticed is most people don't talk about the money enough, and I don't know why they don't talk about the money enough. Maybe they think it's bad to talk about money. Listen, you've all been on some interviews where you've really been interviewed by some very phony people, haven't you? Okay, you go on an interview and they promise you the world, right, Dave? Oh man, if you're dedicated, if you're a good company man, if you're a good employee, there's room here all the way at the top here for you. You could move right through our man. And they tell you everything, okay? And if they gave you this unbelievable scenario about our company's great, your opportunity here is great, everything is great, and the starting salary is $12,000 a year, would you be interested? Doesn't matter how good the spiel was, if the money ain't there, you're not interested, right? Okay, because at the end of the day, you need to feed your family and you need to pay your bills. People want to know how much money they can make. And I don't see people talk about the money enough in our business. I make it clear. I mean, don't over exaggerate the money, but then the other end of that, I can play devil's advocate. You can't over exaggerate the money because the sky's the limit here. But you've got to talk an amount of money that they can relate to. You know, if you're talking to somebody that makes big money, you got to talk big money. If you're talking to somebody that makes an average income, you got to talk $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month part time. You got to talk the money. Next slide, please. Curiosity. If I could show you a chance to double your income without taking any risk, would you be willing to take a look at the possibilities that exist? Somebody's got to be pretty out there to say no. If I could show you an opportunity to double your income without taking any risk, would you be willing to take a look at the possibilities that exist? How could you not be willing to take a look at that, right? Now that should pique somebody's curiosity, shouldn't it? Shouldn't it? Need. If I know somebody for the last 8 months, all they've been talking about is, man, I can't wait to get out of this apartment. I'd love to own a home. Then I'm going to use that button to recruit them. If I know somebody who's sick and tired of their car because they don't, in the morning, it's 50-50 whether it's going to start and they really want a new car, I'm going to use that to recruit them. If I know somebody who they'd love to get a new fishing boat, I'm going to use that to recruit them. Whatever their need is, I'm going to use it to recruit them. This example says, hey, Bob, if I could show you how to earn the extra money for the down payment on that home you've been telling me about, would you be interested? Whatever it is we know our friends, we know our family members, and we know what they want. Use that to recruit them. You've been telling me for the longest time that you want to get out of your apartment and into a home. If I could show you a way to do it, would you be willing to free up some time on Wednesday night? Now, in that scenario, when you're talking to a good friend and you say something as powerful as that, and they say, doing what? Then with a really good friend, you could actually come back and say, does it really matter as long as it's honest and ethical? But see, there's a time and place for everything. I'm not contradicting what I taught you before. You got to go with the flow, right? Greed. Hey, Glenn, would you be interested in earning an extra $1,000 to $1,500 a month part-time? That's pressing the greed button. An extra $1,000 to $1,500 a month part-time. If I'm talking to somebody who makes $100,000 a year or $150,000 a year, I'm going to talk to them about would they be interested in the possibilities of doubling their income without taking any risks. Remember, you create interest and control conversations by being the person who's asking the questions. And that gives you common responses. It sounds too good to be true. If I could prove to you that is true, would you be interested? You know what most people's response is to it sounds too good to be true? I swear it is true, man. This thing is unbelievable. We got this guy, Jim Meyer. We were just at such and such place. I mean, you should see this guy. He's been statements push. You got to remember, when you make statements, you push people away. When you ask questions, you pull them in. When you make statements, you push them away. When you ask questions, you pull them in. That's most people's response to it's good to be true. You don't understand this friggin' thing. It's unbelievable. They publish a book, and they just start, and everything you're saying really is right. It's true, and it really does sound good. Ain't going to get them, though. You got to look at recruiting like fishing. Dude, let me ask something. Do you push the hook into the fish's mouth? No, you pull it. Recruiting's no different than fishing. If you've ever freshwater fished, and you use a lure, you throw it out there, you reel it in, stop for a second, reel it in, stop for a second. What are you trying to do? Create interest with the fish, right? And bang. It's the way you recruit. You create a little interest. You got to pull them in. You pull them in with questions. You don't pull them with statements. You're pushing them away with statements. Sounds too good to be true. Hey, if I could prove to you this true, would you be interested? Is this one of those pyramid schemes? Now, there's a lot of ways to answer that. This one says absolutely not. And as long as I could prove that to you, would have an interest in earning this extra $1,000 to $1,500 a month part-time. That's a simple answer. Flat out. Paul says, is this one of those pyramid schemes? Absolutely not. As long as I can prove that to you, would you be interested in earning an extra 1,000 a month part-time? That's it. I mean, you don't have to do nothing fancy. You don't have to say, hey, give me a piece of paper and draw out the hierarchical tree with the company they work with. Now, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Excuse me, Cammy. I know she's into her cat, okay? But you could say, do you have different levels of management where you work? Yes, and there's one level. I mean, you can do it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. I could also say, if Paul says this one of those pyramid schemes, I can come back and say, Paul, you are aware of the fact that pyramids are illegal, right? Are you insinuating that I would do something illegal? Remember, when in communication, when it's face to face, it's always got to be eyeball to eyeball contact. People don't trust people that don't look at them. It's got to be eyeball to eyeball contact. So these are just samples. There's more than one way to do it. I already know about your business. Now, 99.9% of all the people that tell you they already know about our business knows nothing. Now, you can't come across arrogant like that, but I'm here to tell you they know nothing. People get like all flustered. You do? They don't know nothing. They were in a cocktail bar one night. Some guy who came to a meeting who didn't understand a damn thing was explaining to everybody in the place that they don't know nothing, okay? Just because somebody's heard of our company doesn't mean they understand our company. Everybody's heard of IBM. Does everybody understand the inner workings of IBM? No, but everybody's heard of them. Because I could care less if everybody in the world heard of Primerica. It doesn't mean they understand Primerica. It doesn't mean they know. So when somebody says to you, I already know about your business, very politely, very nonchalantly, have you ever gone to a meeting? Wait for an answer, and almost every time they'll say, what? No. As you can see up here, you're not the type of person that makes a decision without all the facts, are you? No. Would you come take a look, get all the facts, and then make a decision? That's all. I mean, don't get flustered. Yeah, I guess what I want to tell you is don't get all bent, all wigged out when people ask you questions. People with brains ask questions. Questions are not objections. As a matter of fact, here's the definition of an objection. If you cannot get up in front of the room and give everybody the definition of an objection, then you need to write this down. An objection is nothing more than a question in somebody's mind which has not been answered. That's all it is. So there really is no such thing as an objection, is there? If you think about it, there's not. It's just a question in somebody's mind that has not been answered. And if you understand that that's what an objection truly is, then you won't get all flustered when people ask you questions. You won't be like, oh man, they're resisting me. They're giving me objections. No, they're not. They're conversing with you. They have brains. They're human beings, Prospect. The most successful people are the ones who bring people to the meetings and build a big team. Recruiting is a mindset. It's an all the time thing. Focus on recruiting and success will follow. Hopefully up to this point, we've gotten that message across. If you focus on sales, the average sale, if you're doing the total solution, is worth anywhere between $800 and $2,000 to you, right? If you focus on recruiting and building, you'll build RVPs, and the average RVP is worth $50,000 a year to you, every year, forever. So what are you going to focus on? Both of them require effort. Both of them require work. So if they both require effort and work, you might as well put your focus on the one that's going to give you the biggest payoff, right? Absolutely. Prioritize your prospecting activity to maximize your ratio of success. So it says the first place that you should prospect is in your warm market, right? The only time somebody would not want to prospect in their own market is because they really don't understand what we're all about. And that doesn't make them bad people. That just means we have to get them to understand what we're all about. We really, if I ever get, I've had people say, man, I'm just a lot more comfortable talking to strangers. I'd rather talk to strangers. Some of you have heard that too, right? They're absolutely telling you they don't understand what we do. They didn't use those words, but they're telling you, I do not understand what you do. Because if somebody understands what we do, they're prospecting in their warm market. Listen, we do two things. We show people how to make money, and we show people how to save money. And when somebody says, man, I'd rather talk to strangers, they don't understand what we do. And they think, man, we're going to sit down and we're going to sell their brother something, or we're going to sell their cousin something, or we're going to make them look bad in front of their best friend or something like that. And that's not what we're all about, is it? Have you ever had somebody resist you after you developed their top 25 and you tried to get them to set appointments? They just totally resisted you. Well, one of the ways to avoid that is as follows. If I sat down with Paul and I developed his top 25, after I developed his top 25, I would explain to him what we want to accomplish with these people. I'd say, Paul, first of all, I want to make something really clear to you. I don't ever want you to concern yourself with introducing me to one of your friends or family members. I don't ever want you to have a concern that I would ever jeopardize your reputation with them. You don't have to worry about me sitting down with your best friend or your uncle or your brother and trying to shove something down their throat, trying to sell them something. I would never, ever do that. Your reputation is everything to me. My reputation is everything to me. And my company's reputation is everything. When you introduce me to the people that you know, I want you to know there's three things I want to accomplish in the following order. Number one is I want to develop a center of influence for you. I want to explain to them who Primerica is. I want to explain to them what we're doing so that they feel good about the business you're in, great about our company. And if they ever come across the type of person we're looking for, or if they ever come across the type of person that could benefit from our service because they feel good about you and the company, they're going to refer them to you. That's the number one thing I want to accomplish when you introduce me to your friends and family. Secondly, I'm going to talk to them about our expansion. I'm going to talk to them about the opportunity to make an extra 1,000, 2,000 a month part-time. And I'm going to try to hire them into your business, not my business, into your business, onto your team. And last but not least, if they feel they could benefit from what we do, we'll do a financial needs analysis for them. So don't you ever concern yourself about me putting you in a jeopardizing situation with friends and family, because I would never embarrass you. I promise you, all I'm going to do is help you build your business. Now, if you said that to people that you worked with, you think they'd cooperate a little more? You're damn right they cooperate. I can't tell you how many times people said, man, I mean, it was like pulling teeth developing a top 20 for Mary. Or I had no problem developing a top 25 with Joe, but getting the set appointments was so tough because they think you're going to sell their friends. They think you're going to put them, you're going to jeopardize their reputation. Jim, I wish you said that slower so I can memorize the words. The words aren't important. They just need to know. What are the three things you want to do? Number one, develop a center of influence. Number two, hire them into Paul's business. And number three, if they could benefit from what we do, fantastic. We'll do a financial needs analysis. Now, you know darn well, almost every single person they take you to, if they're in the right market, is going to want a financial needs analysis, right? But if you I genuinely want to hire this guy into Paul's business, and I genuinely do care about his reputation. Reputation is everything. Listen, Art Williams always told us, he goes, listen, if you do the right thing, it's going to pay off tenfold for your reputation. If you do the right thing, your reputation is just going to make you a tremendous amount of income and build you a tremendous business. If you do the wrong thing, sooner or later, people are going to find out. Sooner or later, they're going to smell you out. You can smell a phony how far away? A mile away. This morning, I'm checking in with one of my RVPs, and we were talking, and he said, oh, man, I got to tell you about that 401k presentation I went on yesterday. Jimmy, it was unbelievable. They went in to do a 401k presentation for a company, but they had to present it to the union delegates first, because if the union's for it, great. If they're not, forget about it. So he goes in there. He goes, I tell him the name of the company, and the guy goes, Primerica? He goes, you know Jim Meyer? And my guy goes, yeah, I know Jim Meyer. He goes, I used to work with Jim Meyer and Jim Penn back in 1984. What a great company. What an unbelievable company. I didn't have time. It was just a bad time in my life, so I couldn't pursue it at the time. But man, I can't believe you know those guys. I can't believe you work with that company. Come on in. And he opened doors for him yesterday like you can't believe. He had people sit down and set appointments with him in there like you can't believe, because that when he was around the Primerica environment and he was around the Primerica people, we did the right thing. Your reputation is everything. So you're talking about us reaping the rewards after doing the right thing 16 years later. 1984, the guy was with us. And you know as well as I do, there's a good chance now the timing is right in his life and he'll come back, right? I've seen tons of people do it. So warm market. Why warm market? Your highest ratio of success is in the warm market. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk to you about it's a numbers game. If you've been here 2 weeks, you've heard that. It's a numbers game. Jim Penn believes it's a numbers game. And I have accepted it's a numbers game. Just like the Mike Rotens of the world, the Jim Myers of the world, the Paul Sinoskis, the Dave Barefoots. There's a lot of people in this room that have accepted that it's a numbers game. But just because I've accepted it's a numbers game doesn't mean I'm still not interested in getting the highest ratio of success possible. And I know that if I prospect, first and foremost, in my warm market, highest ratio of success. I know that if I call 10 people in my warm market, I'm going to get better results. And by the way, I'm not exaggerating, than somebody who calls 250 people in the cold market. I could get better results calling 10 people in the warm market than somebody who calls 250 people, maybe 500 Herb, in the cold market. Now, I'm not telling you to recruit. I'm not telling you not to cold recruit, but I am telling you that's what's last on your list. Warm market. What's the definition of warm market? Anybody who knows you and you know them. That's the definition of warm market or natural market. I didn't say anybody who knows you well or they know you well. Just warm market. Your mechanic, your dentist, your doctor. They're all part of your warm market. If you have children, their friends' parents, part of your warm market. Their teachers, part of your warm market. The principal, the nurse at school, part of your warm market. Saying I don't have a warm market is almost the same as saying I've lived in a cave for the last 30 years. Because your warm market grows every single day. Yesterday, we played golf at Sawgrass. It was an unbelievable experience. Unbelievable. I was looking at some things, and there was a lady in the gift center that was helping me out. So I'm not from Jacksonville. Let's say I moved here tomorrow. She'd be one of the first people I've seen that I would go see because she's part of my warm market now. She would remember me. I'd go back to her and I said, "Do you remember me? You helped me out with such and such the other day." "Yes, I remember you. Well, I got to ask you for some more help. Since I've spoken to you 3 days ago, I've moved to Jacksonville, and I came here to open up a business. I'm expanding right now, and I know nobody. I was wondering, would it be possible to grab a half hour of your time, sit down, show you what I'm doing? Maybe you'd be able to steer me in the direction of the type of person I'm looking for." And I'd get better results than somebody who opens up a damn phone book and calls 100 people. Your warm market grows every day. Don't say I don't have a warm market. You have a warm market. Your warm market is anybody who knows you and you know them. And you have to invest time into putting your warm market in writing, which most people don't do. Yeah, they put 10 or 15 names on a list, and then they just never pursue it. If you really took the time, if you're from the area, who's on your warm market list? Who do you send Christmas cards to? Who are your neighbors? Who are your doctors, mechanics, all that stuff I talked about before? Aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. You leave no one out. No one. Everybody. Because 9 out of 10 times, the person that you call is not the person you're looking for. But they'll lead you to the person you're looking for. So the first place you prospect is in the warm market. The second place you prospect is in your new associates' warm market because they have what? Credibility in their warm market. See, with warm market, you have credibility. New associates warm market, you have credibility. Third place is F&A short for. Third and fourth, it doesn't matter. You can switch them. I don't care which one's number 3 or which one's number 4. F&A short for meaning, obviously, everybody you see over the kitchen table needs to make more money, right? So it's a great opportunity to recruit him, isn't it? And then it's this third-party center of influence. If I prospect Glenn and Glenn's not interested, I'd say, who do you know who you consider ambitious who might be the type of person I'm looking for? I would never, by the way, say, do you know anybody? Because do you know anybody? Immediately people say no. Because people don't like to think. And I'm not trying to be funny or anything like that, but it's true. People don't like to use their muscle, their brain, okay? Just like they don't like to use their physical muscles. They don't go into the gym. They don't want to think. So do you know anybody? Now, but he said, who do you know who you consider ambitious? Always use adjectives because adjectives make people think. Who do you know who you consider ambitious? Who might be the type of person I'm looking for? You could use the word ambitious, enthusiastic, money motivated, whatever it is that you want to do. But use words that make them think. And don't fire out a bunch of adjectives. Pick one. Who do you know is ambitious, money motivated, aggressive, assertive? Who do you know is like that? Third-party center of influence is just a fantastic, fantastic way to recruit. That bulldozer operator is part of my warm market, isn't he? Now, when I sit down with him and show him what it is that we do, if he's not interested, don't you think there's a very good chance he'll know somebody that I could call? And then when I get, and let's say that somebody is Glenn Paul. So I could call Glenn and I could say, "Hi, is this Glenn?" And he says, "Yes, Glenn, my name's Jim Penn. We haven't met yet, but we have a mutual friend, Tommy, so-and-so." And you follow what I'm saying, man? And if Tommy has credibility with him, he'll listen to me. It's a great way to recruit. Friendship farming. What's friendship farming? Friendship farming is recruiting where you go. You know, when we started in this business, our goal was, in addition to all the warm market recruiting we were doing every day, in addition to the recruiting we were doing in the new associates warm market, through third-party center of influence, over the kitchen table through the F&A shortfall, and back then we didn't have an F&A, we just basically over the kitchen table recruiting. In addition to all that, I tried to friendship farm 3 to 5 people a day. The biggest thing I got out of friendship farming was it really gave me an opportunity to perfect my techniques so that when I was in front of a candidate in the warm market or in a new associate's warm market, it made us that much better. I'm never going to tell you I hired a ton of people through friendship farming. Did I hire people? Yeah. Not a ton, though. Did I do a ton of sales through friendship farming? No. Did I do sales? Yeah. But the best thing it did was it built my confidence. It made me immune, so to speak, to the numbers. I always hated rejection, but you do it anyway, right? And friendship farming is just recruiting wherever it is that you go. And when you friendship, it don't matter whether you're at the gas station. It doesn't matter if you're at the convenience store. It doesn't matter where you are. And it's basically, you BS with somebody for a couple minutes and say, maybe you could help me out. And then you decide whether or not you're going to go right for them or use the third-party approach. Third-party approach would be, maybe you could help me out. Are you from this area? And they say yes, no, and you don't really care, right? And whatever it is they say, the reason I asked is I happen to be expanding a business in the area. I'm looking to hire a couple people on a part-time basis. You never tell them I'm looking to hire 1,000 people or something like that. I'm looking to build a hierarchy. You got to make it special, okay? Looking to hire a couple people on a part-time basis. Who do you know who you consider ambitious, who might be the type of person I'm looking for? Sometimes they'll give you an answer. Sometimes they'll say no one. If they say no one, you don't say okay. If they say no one, you say, are you sure? I'm not talking about a $5 an hour part-time job. I'm talking about a chance to make an extra $1,000, $1,500 a month, working 8 to 10 hours a week. You sure you don't know anybody you consider ambitious? And if they said no again, I'd say, do you know anybody who works part-time right now? Well, yeah. You think they'd be interested in cutting their hours and making more money? Recruiting is a conversational process. It is not a pitch. Please remember that. And most people think it's a what? Pitch. It's not a pitch. You got to converse. That's why they say there's 4 or 5 no's to every yes. You got to talk. You got to shoot the breeze. Now, that's a third-party approach. Who do you know? A direct approach would be going for them, right? So when do you make a direct approach? I don't know. I've always gone by gut instincts. You got to go by gut instinct. One time I was buying a piece of electronic equipment. One of my pet peeves is, have you ever noticed that almost everybody in the retail business knows nothing about what they sell? Have you ever noticed that? They know nothing. It really pisses me off, okay? Especially with electronics. One time I was in this electronics store, and I was looking to just buy this dual cassette thing, and I didn't know nothing about it. And so I asked the guy about it, and he happened to be one of the rare few that knew what the heck he was doing. He knew about this stuff. So that impressed me. So after he helped me out and everything like that, I don't even remember his name. Let's just say it was Gary. I said, Gary, how long have you been here? Oh, I don't know. I've been here 18 months or whatever it is he said. And I said to him, are you married to your job? Got to throw something out that maybe creates a little interest, but it can't be robotical, or, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be, you married to your job? And he looks at you, and I'd be very shocked if he said yes. Wouldn't you? Okay, almost everybody said, no, why'd he ask? I got to tell you, you impressed me tremendously. As it's very rare I ever deal with anybody who knows anything about what they're selling, and this electronic stuff inside and out. I happen to be expanding a business. I'm looking for some sharp, competent guys. You got a head on your shoulder. Would you be interested in the possibilities of making an extra $1,500 a month part-time? And then they go into, what do you do? And you tell them I have a business that shows people how to make and save money for retirement and everything like that. And if he's interested, what do you do? Exchange numbers, and you'll contact them in 2 days and set up a time for them to come to a meeting. Or if they're in the right market, set an appointment with them. So that's friendship farming. Just prospect wherever you go. Remember, the answer is always no until you ask. You don't ever have a chance of getting a yes unless you open your mouth. And cold market is like buying a list and hammering the phone. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I will tell you that I have never done it, and we've built a great business without doing it. Some people tell you they do it. If you want to do it, but make sure you do everything else first. And with the warm market, technique is not important. As a matter of fact, one of the worst things you could do in the warm market is use technique. Big mistake to go read How to Master the Art of Selling and then use it on your best friend. In the warm market, it's got to basically be, because, if Paul's a friend of mine, he's coming to a meeting. Forget about the fancy crap. If he resists me, you slap him around a little bit, right? He's your friend. Paul, what are you giving me a hard time for? If you ask me to come take a look at it, so I might take a look. I'm not asking you to make any commitment. I'm not asking you to give me your soul. I'm asking you to give me a couple hours on Wednesday night. So you're going to do it this Wednesday or Saturday? What's the deal? That's how I dealt with my friends when I came into the business. I don't know about you. I didn't tiptoe through the tulips with them and all that other crap, they're my buddy. They're coming to a meeting. Oh, didn't your friends give you a hard time, Jim? Some of them gave me a really hard time. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about tap rooting, and I'm going to talk to you about a guy. It took me 6 months to get him to a meeting and what it led us to today, what we got today from it. But forget about the technique in the warm market. But in the acquaintance and referral market, technique is what? Important. Technique is very important in the acquaintance and the referral market. What do you mean by a technique? A technique, if Glenn Poole referred Mike Roten to me, the technique of, hi, is this Mike? And he says, yes, Mike, my name's Jim Penn. We've never had a chance to meet, but we have a mutual friend, Glenn Poole. Oh, Glenn, yeah, Glenn. I was talking to Glenn the other day. I happened to mention to him that I was expanding a business. I asked him if he knew of anybody ambitious who might be the type of person I'm looking for, and he immediately recommended you. Tell me, would you have an interest in making an extra $1,000, $1,500 a month part-time? That's technique, right? Okay, technique is important. I mean, you got to know what you're going to say when you call a referral. And it doesn't take long to learn that stuff. Technique is important. You should always be working on your technique. You want to get good. You got to be conscious of what? Body language, tonality. Body language is 55%, tonality is 38%, and what you say is what? 7%. Body language is everything, especially, and it's not everything just when you're talking to somebody face to face. At least to me, body language is important over the phone. It's like I would never like prospect in my pajamas. Now, that might sound goofy to you, but Gina will tell you, like if I'm working at home, like she always cracks on me because like I always have my shoes on. She cracks on me. She's like, you never take your shoes off. I mean, it's kind of like, I got to be in state to do business. You know what I'm saying? And I can't be like hanging out in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt and all of a sudden get on the phone and land my next big fish. Okay? I got to be like, the mental's got to be right. I got to be in state, so to speak. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I don't have to put on a 3-piece suit to prospect at home or anything like that. But I got to be, body language is important. It's like, I could tell you, I know exactly how I sit in the chair when I prospect. That might sound corny to you, but I know exactly how I sit in the chair. I know how I absolutely wouldn't sit in the chair if I was getting on the phone to make it go. There's a certain, it's just a state. Am I getting my point across? Okay. It's like some people maybe they do really well if they stand up and they talk. It's like, I could never lean back in a chair, kick my feet up on a desk, and call this referral Steve Brooks. I got to be ready for the game because the body language is not just important when you're there face to face. It's even important when you're on the phone. Tonality is everything because you can't sound, as I said a few times already, robotical. You've got to understand the power of tonality, of lowering your voice, of sounding empathetic, of saying, hi, is this Mike? Yes, Mike, my name's Jim Penn. We haven't met. I mean, there's some empathy in my voice. There's some sincerity in my voice. It's not like, hi, is Mike Roten there? It's like, Eddie, do you ever listen to telemarketers? Okay, the only reason you would say yes is because you want to recruit them, okay? But I shut telemarketers off mentally within 8 seconds because they know nothing about tonality. They don't know any of this crap, okay? They sound like they're reading a script from second one, and they stink at what they do. They really do, and it's not their fault. Nobody's trained them. But if they knew how to be personable, if they knew how to use their tonality properly and everything like that, they'd get people to listen. But they don't listen, most of them. And only 7% is what you say. Next slide. 90+% of recruiting is being excited. You have to be genuinely excited, but it's exciting in your own way. You don't have to be Jim Meyer. You don't have to be Jim Penn. As you can tell, Jimmy and I have two totally diverse personalities. We have a lot in common, but we have two very different personalities. Okay? So he's excited in his own way. I'm excited in my own way. Dave, you're excited in your own way. See, the greatest thing about PFS is you don't have to be anybody but you. But what you do have to do is you have to be the best that you could be. And you need to understand that excitement, enthusiasm is contagious. We went to a playoff game with the Yankees over in Yankee Stadium. Were those people excited? They're excited. It cracks me up, these people that come to your office and they say, I don't need the excitement, just give me the meat and potatoes. You ever get those people come to your office? And then the next night, you see them on TV in Yankee Stadium. Their face is painted. They got no shirt on. Okay, and they're the person at your office the night before that said, just give me the meat and potatoes. I don't need the excitement. Excitement is very important. But when I think of the word excitement, I don't think of being a goofball. I just think about being fired up about what you do, enthusiastic about what you do. I don't think about being goofy or corny or weird. Weird does not attract people. Goofy does not attract people. But genuine, enthusiasm. If you light yourself on fire, people will come watch you burn. Recruit at the kitchen table and at the opportunity meeting. The kitchen table is the greatest place in the world to recruit. You must recruit across the kitchen table. Basically, your ratio should be as follows. Out of every 4 kitchen table presentations you do, you should be getting an IBA from one of them. So you're going for all 4 of them, and you should be getting an IBA from at least one of them. If you're not getting an IBA from at least one of them, you need to work harder at recruiting across the kitchen table. A lot of people say they recruit across the kitchen table, and they don't really realize it, but they don't. Yeah, they bring up the opportunity, and that's about the extent of it. They don't go for it. It's kind of like if they're at the kitchen table and they're showing somebody a program that's in their best interest, and if the people say, this sounds really good, but I'd like to think about it. They don't accept that, do they? They go right into, well, tell me, Paul, what is it exactly that you'd like to think about? Is it the coverage? Do you feel like I've given you enough coverage? Well, yes, I feel like you've given me proper coverage. Well, is it the company? Oh, no, it's not. And they'll find out until they what? Leroy closed the sale, right? That's the way you got to be about recruiting. Hey, Paul, if I truly could show you how to put a couple grand a month in your pocket, what would prevent you from at least exploring the possibilities that exist? I mean, you got to have the same mentality about getting the IBA that you do about getting the app. Most people would like to believe they recruit across the kitchen table, but they don't. They mention the opportunity. To them, it's a pitch, and that's why they don't get a lot of recruits across the kitchen table, because it's just a pitch, and if the people bite, they bite, and if they don't, they don't. It's not a pitch. It's a conversational process. Just like closing an app is a conversational process. Am I making sense to you? Become the kind of person you want to recruit. Man, if somebody ever said to you, and would you like to recruit somebody just like you? The answer has to be yes. So if right now the answer is not yes, that's okay, fix it. But you want to recruit people just like you, positive, enthusiastic, motivated, disciplined, friendly, because you want likes attract likes. So make sure you're the type of person you want to recruit. Open your kitchen table presentation on recruiting. You got to open it up on recruiting. I'm not going to talk about how now because I want to wind down. Close people on earning their shortfall, working part-time, and tell your story. Most people don't think they have a story. Everybody has a story. Or for people that know they have a story, they don't think their story is relevant. They don't think their story is worth talking about. Your story is worth talking about. Talk about where you were, where you are, and where you're going. You were a truck driver and, a friend of yours introduced you to Primerica and you're really excited because this is giving you the opportunity to go earn an extra income, which is going to afford you the chance to do this, this, and this for your family that you've always wanted to do. And what you really believe is if you stick with this long enough, you might even be able to make a full-time career change. And that's what I'm fired up about. Share your story. Tell your story to people. Don't tell your story to people from a standpoint of look at me, I. Tell your story so they can relate. But those are fundamentals on recruiting and building. And Primerica is all about ability. It's not about talent. It takes ability to win at BFS, not talent. BFS allows people who come from average and ordinary backgrounds the opportunity to achieve their dreams. Ability, not what? Talent. Abilities are something you acquire. Talent is something you're born with. Somebody's either got an ear for music or they don't have an ear for music. It's like, I know how to play piano, but it's not because I have an ear for music. It's because I took lessons when I was a kid. And, I learned how to play piano and I'm okay. But I don't consider myself good. And I'm sure if I applied myself, I could get good. But I know this guy who never took lessons. And all he has to do is listen to a song that he really likes on the radio and he can sit down at a piano and play it. That's talent, right? That's talent. You either got that or you don't have that. There is no such thing as a born salesman. How many meetings have we sat through early on in our career where Joe After would say, have you ever gone into a maternity ward? Raise your hand if you've gone into a maternity ward. Everybody in the meeting raises their hand. What do you see in the maternity ward? Baby boys and baby girls. That's what you see. Nobody pops out of the room with a top hat on and a briefcase in their hand. You don't see a nurse walking around the maternity ward with a stamping the baby's butt, stamping salesman, winner, leisure, truck driver, police officer, handless. I mean, the bottom line is that you're either a baby boy or a baby girl. That's it. Saying, well, I'm not a good prospector. That's an excuse. I could never do a good presentation. That's an excuse. I'm not an outgoing person. That's an excuse. The bottom line is you can learn how to be a good prospector. You can learn how to be a good recruiter. You can learn how to give a great presentation. You can learn how to overcome objections. You can learn how to do presentations, speak in front of large groups of people, close sales. You're a human being. You got a brain. You can learn anything. I'm a firm believer that a human being could learn anything they put their mind to. This business is all about ability, and abilities you acquire. If you want it bad enough, you'll learn how to close. You'll learn how to prospect. You'll learn how to recruit. You'll learn how to present. It all comes down to how bad you want it. And isn't it funny? It all started with how bad you want it. This whole session started with, what do you want out of life? What do you want to be when you grow up? How bad do you want it? Because it's not about the how-tos, it's about the why-to. If you have the why-to, then what we just spent the last hour and a half on was a worthwhile session for you. But if you don't have the how-to, the why-to, then what you need to go do is find it so you can make this last hour and a half a worthwhile session.